Come on. Is it recording? Okay, doing a video on a John Deere 300 Kohler K341 engine starter. Brand new starter, I just bought it. This is the new starter. And if you look at the gear assembly here, look at this. They use a bushing in here that's plastic, right? Plastic bushing. This thing hasn't even started the engine 10 times. Look at this junk. So this is your new $150 or $200 starter from John Deere. Now this is a John Deere, this isn't it? Flea Bay Special. What had happened to my old one, and what you don't want to do is you don't want to tap on them. You know, in the old days you could tap on a starter to release the armature from the flywheel, and these can't handle it. You know, you'll bust the magnets. So the way this is set up is you have your windings on your electric motor here sit inside these magnets, right? And if you tap on that housing, you're gonna have a problem like this. Okay, you're gonna break your magnets. Now, if I really wanted to be super cheap, I could JB weld these magnets back in this housing, but you know, it's better just to replace it, I thought. So if you look at the old gear here, you've got a solid bushing inside this gear between the shaft and the gear. It's got a little bit of play in it, but it's not much. But it sure is better than this cheap plastic junk, okay? Look at this crap, junk, garbage. And this is the whole problem. This gets under my skin. Look at this junk. So what caused that, I was looking at the starter. If you look at the height of the gear, this gear is taller on this starter. And it didn't disengage from the flywheel like it should, in my opinion. But this is the one it calls for. Take a look at these gears. You can see what I'm talking about, okay? So I'll put them together here so you can see, if I can. Well, anyway, you got the idea. I can't quite get them lined up, but there you go. So what I'm forced to do, because this is junk. Now, if I wanted to, I could probably take, you know, I might take this gear off of here and put it on this brand new assembly here. I got to figure out how to get this gear off of here. There's got to be a retainer clip holding this on here, because this is a bearing here. It's hold on to the shaft to keep that gear in place. I just need to replace this gear with the old one that's probably, you know, pretty old, because this starter is dated from, it's a reman, and I'm not seeing a date on it, but this starter's been replaced recently. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 05, I guess. I'm guessing. Okay, right. Whatever you can make of it. So, I think what I'm going to do to save myself some time, because I got to get my turbo in my TDI today, is I'm going to just take this whole assembly, because I like this, that gear inside on that armature looks good. I'm going to grease that. I'm going to grease the back unit. The shellac looks good on the windings. Not any wear on this motor. I've cleaned it up a little bit. I think I'm going to grease this, because I think this is good. And I'll save this one. If the motor goes out on this one, I've got a brand new motor I can use. And you know, the reason why I don't take this new thing back is because they're just going to give me another piece of junk with a plastic bushing in it. It's just junk. It's what a shame. Come on, John Deere, really? So anyway, that's my beef and my rant on the John Deere. So let me try and show you how to put these things together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grease the back of the shaft here a little bit. I don't want to get it on the motor. I'm just going to put a little bit on here, because that sits down in the cup on the back of the motor here. Okay, I just want a little bit on there, and then I want to get some up in here if I can get my finger up in there, and I'm not going to be able to. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get some on the stick, okay, because I need to get some grease up on that bearing up in there. Get this up in there. I like this green grease. It works pretty good. Synthetic, waterproof. And see if I can get up in here and get that on there. Okay, so I want that on there. And get that grease up in there. Okay. Now, I'm going to work that grease into that gear. And now I got to get some on here. You don't want to go to town too much because you don't want to get any of this stuff to get hot and drip down in your motor. Grease out your motor, but you want some on there to keep it lubricated. Okay, and I'm gonna get some on here, just a tad on that shaft. You getting this, Bubba? Just a little bit, okay? So that way, this is all lubricated. And then I'm gonna clean off any excess I get on the inside of this assembly. I don't want it getting on this motor. I mean, it'd probably still work with some grease in the motor. I'm just trying to, you don't want too much on there. It'll cause the motor to run hot, right? Grease coating the motor. Okay, so now I got to remember how this goes. So this mounts like this on the engine. This is going to be the front to engage in the flywheel. You can slide this in. What you need to do, you just need to mark. I marked my position for my bolts on the outside of the housing here. Okay, so that I know how to line that up. Because the bolts will go through and they'll engage in the back side of this thing. Now the fun part is, if I can do this, is I've got to get these springs and this assembly held down while I engage this into the back of the starter. The problem is that it's kind of a pain in the butt to do. So this spring kind of got bent, looks like. It did. So I'm going to take a spring from the old one, put it in here, because it looks like it's sufficient. It's just the same tension. Okay. Oh, whoop. Jesus, come on, fingers, work for me today. So the trick is, and I'm not sure how they do this, is to try and get all these to hold tight. Right? So you want all these carbon brushes to stay inside their position when you try and put this together. So I haven't thought about how I'm going to do that, other than you'd think they would be just a little bit of a better fit. You know, there'd be some kind of a something. The engineers figured it out. We put a man on the moon. We can figure this out. If we actually put a man on the moon. So I'm going to leave the video at that because I've got to figure out how I'm going to engage, how I'm going to do this, right? So we're going to, because what I have to do is I've got to be able to get this on here and make sure these line up, okay? So the idea is that if I can get these to stay in position without falling out of their positions, that would be nice. That's the ideal idea. So I'm going to work with this thing and try and get this to do what I need it to do, but it's going to take me about probably 20 or 30 minutes, so I'm not going to waste the video on that. But there you go. There's my my rant on this stuff. So hopefully that helps somebody out. If you can rebuild your old starter on your John Deere or Kohler K341, I wouldn't use that new gear. The new gear's junk because the bushing in it's junk. So, all right, hopefully that helps somebody out. Okay, over and out.